Today we are looking at Andrew Tate's most recent chess game out of jail. The game is super tense and at the end we have a completely unexpected ending. And in the following game I'm going to be comparing Andrew Tate's chess style to Emery Tate's chess style, Andrew Tate's father. We're going to be looking at the similarities and the differences. So Andrew in this game was rated 1617 and his opponent was rated 1602. And this was a 5-minute chess game played on chess.com, and Andrew Tate's opponent opens up with the move e4. And if Emery Tate were playing, he would have played the move c5, also known as the Sicilian defense. Instead, Andrew opts for the move d6, which is known as the Pirc defense, and Andrew also implemented this opening against Grandmaster Maurice Ashley. The video is online, I believe, and you can see them actually playing over the board in real life. We see knight f3, the move g6, d4, and now bishop g7. And this bishop on g7 is going to act like a sniper. It's going to sit back and attack from a distance. After bishop g7, we see c4 and now the move knight f6. And after knight f6, knight c3 is played, and we have officially transposed into the King's Indian defense. And this opening is played by some of the greatest tactical geniuses in the world. Hikaru Nakamura likes to play it. I've tried it out a couple times. It works amazing. So here Andrew just gets his king to safety, castles his king. King safety is the #1 principle in chess, and the most common move for white here is to play the move bishop e2. However, we see the second most popular move here, and we see the move h3. From an opening point of view, Andrew Tate and Emery Tate play quite different. Emery Tate played way more aggressive openings, and Andrew Tate normally likes to play way more solid openings. Emery Tate was quite a big believer in gambit, so giving up pawns for active play. I never really see Andrew do that though, so maybe some interesting observations there. And after h3, Andrew strikes in the center with the move c5. In chess, you have to contest the center. You could apply this to so many different sports. Central control is highly valued, mainly for the reason that it gives you the most options. So the move c5 just breaking away at white's central control, trying to get rid of his options. Tate's opponent goes bishop e3, and we see an exchange here in the center of cd4, knight d4, and now the move knight c6. And after the move bishop d3, Andrew actually plays one of the top engine moves and plays the move knight d7. So now there is a threat of winning this knight, as there is two attackers. In previous master games, there was a move bishop e2 was played, defending the knight with the queen. However, on the 10th move, we see a novelty and knight e2 is played. Andrew hops in with these knights, knight e5. And also, it's weird here because white hasn't castled their king. Now, normally the game plan for black, if white castled their king, is to do a kingside attack, and normally white will attack on the queen side, but white's king is still in the center, which makes it a tiny bit harder for Andrew Tate to come up with a plan. Here we see the move b3 and the move f5. So f5 just cracking away at white center, lovely stuff. And here after the move f5, we see the move f4. Now, you can try work out why this move f4 is not too great, and you can try solve black's best move here. So what Andrew really needed to do here was just take this knight. This was not played in the game, by the way, but just take this knight. And after queen takes, just take on here, and if the queen takes back again, you play a move like bishop f5, you get your bishop into the game. Instead of any of that, with knight d3, just going back after the move f4, knight d3 was not played. Knight d3 would have been strong. Instead of knight d3, Andrew plays the move fe4, which is not as strong. However, the position is still fine, but now the move bishop e4, this knight has to retreat as it is under attack, and knight f7 is played. And since Andrew has this nice bishop along this diagonal, his opponent just gets his rook out of this deadly diagonal and goes rook c1. And the time situation is that Andrew has 3 minutes 58 seconds on the clock, and his opponent has 4 minutes 24 seconds. After rook c1, Andrew slides his queen out, queen a5. Castles is played, just e6, restricting this knight's access to the d5 square. g4, knight e7, and now bishop f2. Rook b8 is played, maybe preparing to go b6. We see bishop e1. Now, there may be some deadly discoveries of this knight moving and this bishop unleashing an attack on this queen. For that reason, this queen is somewhat vulnerable, so it goes to the c7 square. But now this knight harasses Andrew with knight b5. Queen b6 check is played, checking this king. We see bishop f2, and now this queen has to go to a6. So Andrew kind of holding on here, but Andrew is running quite low on squares. And Tate's opponent can win a pawn here. knight a7, and this bishop is under somewhat attack from this knight, so bishop d7, just getting it out, knight c3, and knight d8. So Andrew is playing quite passively here, and basically Andrew's plan here is just to hang on a bit. If Andrew can just hold on for a bit longer and unravel his pieces, he will be okay, and that's what we're gonna see here, because the move knight a to b5 is played, this knight retreats, but now Andrew can somewhat win back his pawn because he is down one pawn here, so he takes back this pawn on f4. We see rook f4, and now queen d6, and now Andrew can actually exchange queens, which will favor him here. And one thing I've noticed, a big difference between Andrew's play and Emery's play, is that Andrew likes to exchange queens a lot more than Emery did. Emery was more about keeping the queens on the board, increasing attacking chances, but Andrew likes to just exchange queens, get down to an endgame. We see queen d6 and knight d6, and Andrew plays the tricky move here, bishop e5. Tate's opponent thinks he's smart and plays the move rook e1, which seemingly hangs a knight. Now Tate wins this knight with bishop d6. Now what white had to do here was play rook c to d1. After a move like rook c to d1, there is a double attack, so when one bishop moves, let's say the bishop moves here, well, you can just simply win this. So going back a bit to bishop d6, instead of the move rook d1, which would have been good, Andrew's opponent here plays the move bishop g3. Now when this rook has to move, well, this bishop just simply falls. Try pause the video and work out the tactical sequence Andrew can play here to win material. I'll let you pause the video. So the move is rook g4. Congratulations if you found that. The reason is this bishop cannot move anymore because it's pinned to this king's defense, which means you have to take this rook, take the rook. But after this, we simply win this, and we have two minor pieces for the rook, which is a great trade. So going back a bit after the move bishop g3, the move rook g4 was a brilliant KO. Instead, we saw the move rook e4, takes back, and after bishop g3 and knight g3, Andrew has a knight and a bishop for one rook. So it's a imbalanced position here, so it can get very lethal. Knight d to c6 is played here, and after knight e4, Andrew plays knight d4, which blunders to knight f6. Andrew dodges a bullet with knight f6, which would check the king and pick up this free bishop. So instead of knight f6, we see the move rook e to d1, and now Andrew is winning again. Here the move knight e2 check, checking this king and winning this rook, is completely winning. Instead of playing knight e2, Andrew misses this check, and he goes knight e to c6. Knight f6 check is played, checking this king. We see king g7, and after knight d6, this rook slides to the d8 square, and knight c5 is played. The move e5 now, rook d3. Andrew has another chance, and he finds it. Knight e2 check, and after king f2, Andrew had to take this rook. Instead, he took this rook, and after takes, and now taking this rook, but after this, Andrew is down one pawn in a knight and pawn endgame. The move king f6 is played, king e3, and after king e6, knight d3, and knight d4, the move knight c5, winning another pawn, and after king f6 and knight b7, we saw one last attempt, but after the move king e4, Andrew here lost on time. By the way, Andrew had 30 seconds here, so I think he just let his clock run down. He must have been really annoyed. If you want me to make a video on Andrew Tate's first win out of jail, make sure you subscribe so you don't miss it. If you enjoyed this video, you might enjoy this video. Thank you for watching. Have a good day.